The 2023 cross planting at the White Cross Monument took place on Saturday, the 16th of September, when a total of 53 new crosses were planted for 53 people who lost their lives in farm attacks. The White Cross Monument annually honors those farmers and their family members who were brutally murdered on their farms by planting white crosses, one for each of the victims. The monument, which grows bigger year after year as this massacre continues, stands as indisputable proof of this cruel and barbaric reality under which South Africa's food-producing families have to live. The White Cross Monument came into existence on June 16, 2004, when 1,200 white crosses were planted on a slope of Eysterberg, on a farm, next to the N1 route between Pietersburg and Potgietersrus. A white cross, for every farmer or one of his family members, who lost their lives in a farm attack. A bunch of crosses were initially placed right against the highway when a few farmers planted them earlier that year to raise awareness of farm murders. But after the South African National Roads Agency, SANRAL, objected, the crosses had to be moved. Dr. Niels Roelofse, criminologist at the University of Limpopo, and his wife Rena, took the lead at the time and acquired an area of approximately 5 hectares on the farm of Stefan van der Walt, right on the N1 route, where those first 1,200 white crosses were planted by 300 members of the community. This number gradually grew with the annual cross plantings to almost 3,000 crosses. A large number of them together forms a giant white cross in the center of the slope. Some of the other crosses planted were arranged in the shapes of 2 smaller crosses on either side of the large cross. Some were also used to shape the outline of South Africa, and quite a few crosses were planted on the 2 knolls at the very top, on either side of the slope. Right above the large cross, the word "Farm Murders" were erected with large white letters made of metal sheet. Each cross planted there bears the name and surname of a murdered person, as well as the person's age and date of death. This monument is a memorial, much like a memorial wall, with the names of all farmers and their family members who were killed on farms. In 2020, a granite cross with a granite tablet was erected at the foot of the crossfield, with the words, "The White Cross Monument is in memory of every man, every woman, and every child who died in farm attacks." Two years later, a bronze statue of a ready farmer and his pregnant wife, by the sculptor Jaco van Niekerk, was added to the site. It depicts the endless struggle and survival urge of the average farmer and his family. The farm on which the monument is located has since been bought by the Haremse family, who, in the same spirit as the previous owner, also made the parcel of land available to the monument. Lita Cross-Fourie, who also lost her parents in a farm attack, was at the head of the organization of the monument from 2009 until her death in March 2023. After her death, a committee of 8 members was formed for the organization of the monument, in which Chris Haremse takes the lead. During the 2023 cross planting, 39 crosses were planted for farmers who lost their lives in farm attacks between August 2022 and July 2023. A further 14 crosses, for farmers that were overlooked in previous years, were also handed over on this day, making it a total of 53 crosses, with which the monument grew. The event began at around 8 o'clock in the morning, with a very long vehicle procession that traveled from a filling station outside Petersburg to the monument. Agricultural vehicles such as tractors, with "Stop Farm Murder" slogans, and a number of motorcycles from one of the biker clubs, formed part of the procession. But the largest part of the procession consisted of the private vehicles of people who attended the cross-planting event. After the vehicle procession, the Bitter Ender Horse Commando carried the flags of most of the former Boer republics, as well as the flags of some of the countries of ancestral origin, to the monument. The flag of the Republic of Orange Free State, followed by the Transvaal four colors. The Prince's flag, the flag of the United East India Company, and the flag of the Netherlands. The flag of the French Huguenots. The flags of England and Germany, which, like the Netherlands, are also countries of ancestral origin. The Voortrekker flag, the flag of the Republic of Natalia. The hunting horn flag of the Free State. The Rustenburg four colors, Stellerland's flag, and the flag of Land Gozen. The Bitter Ender flag, the New Republic's flag, the Freiburger or Cape Rebel flag, and the United Republic's flag. After members of the Horse Commando took their places, a flag presentation was observed by one of the riders, Gerard Swart.
Van Vlaar is dat elke beskaafde volk word erken aan 3 simbole.
Every civilized nation is recognized by 3 symbols. 1, its national anthem. 2, its national flag. And 3, its national coat of arms. These 3 symbols point to a people's religion, culture, and language. This is important because it distinguishes us Western nations, or peoples of European origin, from the other peoples and cultures in the world.
So die eerste vlag
The first flag we will plant this morning is the Transvaal Four Colours. The handing over of the crosses took place later in the morning, when Chris Haremse, who had been making all the announcements throughout the day, announced the names of murdered farmers and their family members, one by one. As the names were announced, the crosses were handed over to the deceased's families by Chris and Leonis Joubert, who themselves survived a farm attack. In cases where families could not attend the planting of the crosses event, volunteers received the crosses to be planted. Two of the farmers killed in the last year, for whom crosses were also planted, Nicky Janse van Rensburg, 35 years old, killed on the 7th of October 2022, and Joseph Payne, 70 years old, killed on the 5th of June 2023, have themselves been volunteer cross planters during the proceedings of previous years. Well-known names such as those of Eugene Terreblanche and Brendan Horner's crosses can also be found among the thousands of crosses which were previously planted. The planting of the crosses event is primarily to pay last respects, but it is also a gathering of a people with strong biblical values at an event which is not linked to any specific political movement. While this event is sad in nature, a lighter mood was nonetheless detected among the attendees, possibly because it was a gathering of a folk, much like a family gathering. Rather cultural and quite relaxed. Some rifles from yesteryear attracted a lot of attention, but the star of the day was an old cannon, apparently a replica of one of the cannons that was used during the Battle of Blood River in 1838. Shortly after the new crosses were handed over, a few gunshots were fired. And then, a single shot from the cannon. This was followed by a minute of silence. During the cannon shot, a straight spark ignited some of the dry grass, which caused a wildfire. And despite bystanders, young and old, taking quick action to extinguish the fire, a moderate wind that blew the day pushed the fire higher up towards the left knob. The fire then spread out of control and burned right across the monument. The result was a striking sight of contrast, when thousands of white crosses stood out brightly against the ash-pale burnt slope. The monument probably received more publicity because of the fire than it would have initially. And even though the headlines were more about the fire than the last respects, the public nevertheless took note of the existence of the monument and the planting of the crosses that took place that day. The 2023 cross planting was, despite the wildfire, a great success. The event was attended by an estimated 700 people, and every item on the program was executed flawlessly.